Hi, I'm BJ, and this is the Arcane Alienist Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special episode of the Arcane Alienist. Today I have Karl Rodriguez with me of the GMologist Presents. Hey,
Hello.
Karl. Good. All right. We're going to talk about a game called We Deal in Lead. I think we're trying to get a game together with some of the other anchor podcasters to play here in a few weeks, just to try it out. But we're going to talk a little bit about the game, and Karl's going to make a character, and we'll see how this goes. But We Deal in Lead is written by Colin Lesueur. His studio company label is called By Odin's Beard. You can find that online pretty easily. I'll put a link in the show description. But this is he calls it a Weird West Wanderers adventure game, and it is more or less based on the Dark Tower. It's not set in the same setting as the Dark Tower. It's not a Dark Tower adaptation, but at least the concept of a sort of a broken post-apocalyptic world where gunslingers kind of fill the role of knights, and or almost in a lot of ways almost like samurai. It's still got that. So if you're familiar with the Dark Tower series, you're going to see stuff that is lifted very much from that in this game. Mechanically, it's based on Cairn by Yochai Gall, and Into the Odd by Chris McDowell, although Cairn itself is a blend of, I think, Into the Odd and Knave. So this has got its roots in a lot of, I guess, I don't know if those are considered OSR games or NSR, New School Renaissance.
I don't know. It changes all the time.
They're independent games that are kind of part of talked about it on the OSR scene, but they're really not. I think they're kind of meant to be compatible with OSR games, but they've got some innovative kind of modern mechanics as part of their design. Mm-hmm. So if you're familiar with Into the Odd or Cairn, the mechanics of this game are going to be familiar, although there are some specifically unique mechanics for gunslingers to kind of emulate the fact that they're not just, sharpshooters. They actually have a mystical ability related to their guns. So we'll get into that. Karl, did you have any first kind of impressions of the game that you want to share as we get started?
No, let me see. I think I can share my screen. I know it's not going to translate well to audio, but we might put this on video. Don't hold us to it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to check something out here.
Well, he's getting that. I would add,
this
probably can be, if in the hands of somebody who's kind of familiar with kind of adapting role-playing games. You could do a Dark Tower style game, but you could probably just do any kind of Weird West setting you want to.
Right. So here's the cover of the book.
Yeah.
And this is working from the PDF that does come if you order the book. And the first page is that's a cover. You can see the gate, the doorway and the gate, kind of gunslinger, very Dark Tower-esque. There's even a Dark Tower in the background.
Yeah.
And then there's the part of the character sheet. It's a 2-page character sheet, and you can see you put a picture there, the 3 attributes that Cairn, Knave kind of have, and then the different items that you can put on there. Very simple character sheet's great. What I liked about the book is the art was really neat. It was pretty evocative, I think, of the Dark Tower, the gunslinger. So I think that was my first impression. Here's the table of contents, and what I like, I think it's kind of cool too, is that they give you an intro that are the principles of the game. And then you go right into creation, and I kind of like that in a rule book. I know we talked about formatting and rule book and organization in the past, but I think this is kind of cool how you jump right. Chapter 2 is jumping right into character creation.
Yeah, so they give you some kind of philosophical game principles for both the
Mhm.
game master, which are referred to as a warden.
And you can see that principle of the drifted world on this page. Like the world has moved on. They're
Yeah,
gunslingers. There's slip doors of the gates. There's magic, but it's wild and unpredictable, and it's mostly lost technology and death. You can die, but death
yeah,
is interesting. I like that death is but a door and may lead to other worlds than these. So if you're familiar with the Dark Tower, you do know that people die and can come back.
right. I also felt like between the slip doors, which I know is again evocative of the Dark Tower, but you could get a little bit of a planescape kind of a
Right.
deal with this here. I mean, maybe the doors are not obvious, and you have to have keys to find them, but you could wind up because this is based in Cairn. You could and Cairn has a lot of free online resources for other types of. It's been adapted by other game designers. Some stuff you pay for, some stuff you're free, but they're pretty compatible. So you could kind of use the drifted world as kind of this cosmic crossroads, and the adventurers could wind up in a fantasy setting or a 20th century setting or a sci-fi setting, and the mechanics should work together. I mean, you could even drop them into Bastion Land, probably Electric
Oh yeah,
Bastion
you
Land with
could. Yeah.
a
Right.
little bit of thought. So, but yeah, I like how this gives you it's sort of just it gives you enough that there's an implied setting you can just go with, but there's enough blank space because it's just some bolded lists of things, principles or ideas that you can kind of make it your own. It's very easy to kind of adapt it to to how you want it to be.
Yeah, and we're
Um,
going to go through character creation, I guess. And I wanted to do it totally random,
right.
even if I get something I don't like, it'll be okay. But I think I think that's fun. I think another game that can be totally random is the Warhammer Fantasy Fourth Edition. You can totally make a random character, and you even roll your name here, right? So you can look here. Well, so there's like 6 steps to character creation, and then some sort of supplemental steps. I guess I'll go over them, right, and then you'll lead me or guide me through character creation.
Yeah.
So first you choose your name, and you can roll on a table for that. Then a background, then your traits. Then you decide whether you're from a slip door or the drifted world. So I guess you get a decision there. Then you roll your
Yeah.
age, which can be random. Finally, you roll for your gun. And then after all that background, which is I think is another cool concept in this character creation process, is then you roll your ability scores and then your other abilities like grit, and then you roll it for your gear. So you roll, if you have a certain number of slots, you roll for starting gear. Uh,
Including what type of cowboy hat you have.
right, right. So that's kind of cool. And then
Yeah.
you roll randomly for how much ammo you have too. So that's like
Yep.
the last step, which is kind
Yep.
of cool. So yeah,
And
so I'm ready to
lead,
jump into it.
yeah. And lead is kind of in the default setting. Lead is the currency.
Oh,
It's the most
neat.
valuable
Okay, so it's
commodity.
currency. So is it currency and ammo?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
interesting. Okay, cool
So,
concept.
all
Yeah, I
right.
guess in a way that this reminiscent of post-apocalyptic to me, like in Twilight 2000, bullets are a tradable commodity that people
Yeah.
always want, right? So
And that's
okay,
one of the things they mention in the principles is that loot is expensive and valuable, but otherwise useless.
interesting.
The kind of things you would find that would be treasure in most worlds. Well, I think that's an end to the odd concept, is that
Right.
its only value is that it's money. It has no other practical use.
Okay. But here,
Uh,
but lead is money, right? So
yeah, well,
lead is ammo.
or
So
if you found other loot, you'd probably be trying to trade it for lead.
right, right.
Um,
Okay, I'm gonna go to page 82 then.
okay. The other thing I like about random character creation is even if you wind up not liking what you get, sometimes it makes you think of some options you may not have considered that you can go with, or if it's something you just can't stand, you can still choose something else, but at least it sort of helps drive some of your choices. So you can
Yeah,
go totally random, or you can do random and then tweak it with stuff that you just didn't seem to work for you, or you can just pick stuff off the table and do it custom. So there's a
yeah.
number of ways to approach random character creation that I like. So
But I like the sort of emergent style of play and emergent thought process that even your name can be random, and some names are usually male, some names are usually female, some are either or, right? So I think that's
yeah,
kind of interesting that even from the get-go, it's kind of randomly chosen for you what your identity might be, and then just get your wheels turning in your head, at least for me, like what your character concept could be. So I think that's kind of
Yep.
cool.
Okay.
So here I've turned to page 82 in the book, and I'm going to roll randomly my name, I guess.
First name, yeah.
Okay. Oh, first name. Okay.
This is your first
I'm
name.
using physical dice in the tradition of Jason Connerly of Nerds RPG Variety Cast, and I rolled a 21. Blackjack. Where is
you on
it? Oh. Interesting.
What happens if you roll? Are we missing part of the table? It starts at 26.
Yeah, I know that's kind of weird, right? Starts at 26. So I don't know what's happening here.
Page 82.
Oh, no, surname traits.
Give
Do
us,
I have
give us a few seconds, folks, while we figure
Yeah.
out what the heck is going on here.
80, 82, 81? Yeah, it looks like that's odd.
But you know, the surname thing is the same way. It starts at 26.
Okay, so do I re-roll, you think?
Look back. It doesn't say what to do. It just says go to page 82 and roll.
Well, I'll roll again. That is bizarre. It starts at 26.
Yeah.
If you roll, maybe if you roll, does it say something? If you roll below 26, you can choose your name?
I don't know. I mean, basically, you roll a D75 because you're missing 1 through 25.
Okay. All right. So
I just roll again.
55. 55. Dortha. First name is Dortha. All right. So put that, I guess, here, Dortha. In
Yep.
I have a character sheet, so we'll see how that goes. Can you see the character sheet?
Yeah, I can see it.
So I do have a name, Dortha, and then I pick a surname, which again is D55.
D, well, D,
Or D.
yeah.
77. Man, if I were playing Zweihander or Warhammer, those are 2 crits. So 77.
Rich.
No, that's the first. That was the first name was Rich.
That's the first name. Okay.
Richard.
Richard.
Dortha Richard. That's funny. Dortha Richard. Or Ricard. No, depends how you pronounce it. All right. Now what do I do next, BJ?
And I think that if you look at the example character they make, that actually that second line where you put the surname is actually where you're supposed to put what order you belong to.
Oh, okay. Is it?
So
Let's see, change that. So Dortha Richard.
yeah. So you thinking Dorothy is a male or female?
It sounds like a woman to
Okay.
me. So
Okay.
all right.
Next, choose a role of background on page 84.
Okay, background. So here I'm on page 84. All right, so background's a D10.
Uh-huh.
4, stranger.
Stranger.
Okay.
And it says in the character creation that represents knowledge and potential skills. Again, this is a rules light game, so it's probably between the player and the warden, the game master, to kind of say, hey, would my background affect this?
Right. So then I roll my traits, right? The physique, skin, hair.
Decide whether they're from the drifted world or arrived through a slip door.
Well, if she's a stranger, she probably arrived through a slip door.
Okay. I don't know if there's a place on there to note that.
Let me look.
Yeah, there's Gunslinger history on the second page. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Now there's a on the second page there's name and pronouns, so you can.
Yep.
If you want to do that.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
All right. So now I will do the physique, skin, hair, face, eyes.
Next you roll their age.
Age. Okay.
40, 12 plus 10. So you can
4D 12 plus
14 or anywhere from 14 to.
All right. So 10, 9. So 19 plus what?
10.
But she's 29.
Okay.
Pretty young. Okay, cool.
Finally, choose or roll for your character's gun. It's on page
All right,
86.
what about all the traits and stuff?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I did tell you to skip the traits. That you do roll that before you decide whether you're from the drifted world or somewhere else.
Yeah, so on this
So,
page, on table on page 84, it has like background is the first column, and then it has physique, skin, and hair on the top.
yep.
So I got brawny, birthmarked, and braided. So where do I put all that?
So on the second page, you got
Traits and personality.
personality. So you say, she's brawny,
She's a brawny, big woman. What'd I say?
birthmarked,
Birthmarked,
and she has braided hair.
braided. Yeah, probably she has maybe like a facial birthmark, because that's, if you have a birthmark somewhere else, it doesn't really do anything, It's
Yeah.
not really distinctive, in my opinion, because you can hide it. Well, you could, of course, you could hide it, like if it's a big birthmark on her cheek or something.
Yeah.
You can hide it with a bandana, which is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
'Cause then
Braided.
all right, and then
What color hair do you think she has?
she's gonna have like a dirty blonde.
Okay.
Well, I think no, I guess we don't have that. So dirty blonde.
Now you pick that.
Yeah, I get to pick that. Probably like a dirty blonde.
Okay, so braided, dirty blonde hair.
Okay, and then it's next is what? There's
Roll a D10 for face. If you just want
face, eyes, speech, and clothing. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just rolling 4 dice and taking them as they fall,
Mhm.
So all right. 8 sharp face.
Mm-hmm.
5 alert. Sharp face, alert eyes. That makes sense that she could have a bandana.
Yeah.
She's kind of a droning speech, a deeper, huskier voice, and comfortable clothing. So what was that? Sharp
Features,
sharp
very alert
alert.
eyes. Yep.
Mhm.
A droning voice, and she's wearing comfortable clothing.
And then comfortable clothing.
Yeah. And if you just want to roll 2 more D10 for the virtue and reputation, I'll just tell you what the results are, so you can
Okay.
type them straight in.
Is that under motivation, or where is that?
That's still under traits.
Okay. I rolled a 9 and a 4. So 9 for virtue.
She's serene. Oh, you got to roll a vice also. So
Okay.
what's the second one?
So I rolled, so the virtue, she's serene.
And
And
what's
the
the second?
vice, is a 4.
Single-minded.
Okay.
And then roll 2 more, because that's reputation and misfortune.
And then reputation. Okay. I rolled a 7, or is it a 7? No, it's a 1. A 1 and a 6.
Boisterous reputation. And her misfortune is that she's heartbroken.
Okay.
So if you're gonna weave all that together into just like a couple of sentences, how would you describe her? Because this is gonna be what
All right. Man, I don't know. I feel like she probably, droning voice and boisterous is kind of interesting, right?
what does a droning voice sound like?
I don't know. What would a droning voice sound like? The droning voice sounds kind of like, to me, like very like with a heavy bass, the type of thing. Monotonous, tedious, and unvarying tone of
Speaking
voice.
of boring,
Lacks,
yeah, probably very slow.
Yeah.
Not a lot of inflection.
but how does that go with boisterous though? That's what's interesting.
Probably very loud and yeah.
Well, I mean, the droning voice and single-mindedness can work very well, because it's like a, monotonous, tedious, unvarying tone of voice that lacks emphasis or inflection. So she's like a Vulcan.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's more she doesn't talk very much. It's more a person of action. So
Yeah.
dancing and singing and drinking and fighting or laughing. But then when she starts to talk, it gets
Yeah.
kind of dull.
Right. Yeah. So
Or
she's
you
a.
can just say those two don't fit. Change one of them.
I'll try to work with it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
And then
Heartbroken. She's
alternative
serene
for
and heartbroken. That's interesting.
You could have a booming voice,
Yeah.
or a blunt voice. Those might fit better with a boisterous person.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is now we roll. Okay, roll their age. Now we roll for the character's gun.
Okay.
That's on page 86. So roll let's show people that one. That's a good one to put up on the screen. There we go. Yeah. So you roll a d6.
Okay. Roll a d6. All right. A 5. I knew it.
Scattergun.
Yeah.
All right. And then roll 2d6 for the grip. And
Okay. 2d6 for the grit.
uh-huh.
A 5 for grit.
So you got a rosewood grip.
Oh, for the grip. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you have a scattergun with rosewood? Okay.
I guess just on the handle, I guess.
Okay.
Stock. I mean, not the
For
handle.
stock, I guess. Yeah.
Roll 2d6 again for the
Okay.
engraving.
9 for that.
Dragon.
Oh, nice. I like it. My
That makes it
dragon
cool.
gun.
Scatter gun that is kind of got a dragon motif going on.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That's cool.
And then roll a d10 for your hat.
A d10 for my hat. 4.
Jude.
A what?
Jude hat.
Jude?
Uh-huh. It's the almost to me looks like kind of the most generic of the cowboy hats.
Jude hat?
Yeah, if you can put it back up on the screen and there's a picture of it. If you go back to the table that has the guns and the hats.
Oh yeah. I see what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like it's almost like a bonnet, but yeah, I got it. Jude hat.
Yep.
Yeah, this one here.
Trying to think of what famous TV or movie guy would be wearing that.
I don't know. Let me see. I'm trying to look.
It kind of looks like maybe, I don't know, is that the kind of hat Robert Duvall has in Lonesome Dove? Or has he got a full gallon?
Thinking, I'm looking. Oh yeah, that's close. That's close, yeah. No, he's got a big 10-gallon.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a big hat. Yeah, I don't know. I see what you're seeing. He has actually multiple hats. So he has a kind of a gallon hat and then a smaller hat. And then he has like a curled hat too. So so he does, one of those pictures does have like a flatter,
All right. Cool.
Okay, what else?
Okay,
next?
Now we do ability scores. So roll 3d6 in order.
3d6 in order.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking if they see like famous Jude hat, but I don't see.
So these would be for strength, dexterity, and heart. Heart is a resolve, charm, and force of will. It kind of in other Cairn kind of based games, it's called will. I think they call it willpower. But here they're calling it heart.
All right. So I'll go back. So go ahead and say that again. So strength, dex, and heart.
Strength. Yep.
All right. Whoa. I got a 15 strength.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put them down, but then I can switch them around.
Yeah, I don't know why you've got 2 spaces there unless there's because you take damage from you take ability score damage. That's why.
I got a 14 dex. Wow.
Nice.
And then the last one is a 14 heart. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, so you can you can swap
You know,
two of them.
I think that's probably I don't need to swap any. I'll swap heart and
Well,
dex. Now, I mean,
well,
it's
I mean,
15.
heart for a gunslinger, heart's pretty important.
Okay. Well, but she's brawn. She's been described as brawny.
Okay, all right.
Well, I guess I mean, so heart you think should be 15?
I don't know. It depends on how much you want to be a character optimizer. I know that's kind of the thing with the gunslinger when they actually get into a magical, mystical, shoot, with their gun, it goes off their heart score.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll do like strength 14, dex 14, and heart 15.
Yeah, and so how this works is that for just most things you would do, it's a roll under.
Yeah.
So you got a task. It's not clear whether you can. It's possible, but not guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
The warden calls for a roll from one of these three abilities: strength, dexterity, and heart. The other thing is once you start taking serious damage, it starts to come off your strength. And then there are other things that may affect your dexterity or your heart. If your strength drops to 0, you're dead. If your dexterity drops to 0, you're paralyzed, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then if your heart drops to 0, you're kind of comatose. So you've got grit, which takes the place of hit points or health points. So you roll 2d6 to determine your starting grit.
Okay.
One thing I like about this is that they call it grit so that it's clear that these aren't meat points. This is just something heroic about your character that gives them the ability to endure stress and take risks.
I got
and
an
it
8.
says grit is your capacity to endure and survive in a world that has moved on. It's not your health or your fortitude. I kind of like that description for hit points in general.
Yeah. Okay. And then starting gear.
Yeah. So once you're out of grit, though, you start to take damage to your strength.
Okay. Yeah. So I got grit. I rolled an 8. That's not bad. It's about 3/4.
And in typical Cairn games, you just roll 1d6. So they're kind of setting up here that gunslingers are really a cut above other people.
Yeah.
For the way this game works. Mm-hmm. So characters begin with 12 inventory slots for their gear. And so you'll roll for your starting. It includes your gun and your. Well, I guess. I don't think your hat counts as a.
Yeah. So you can. So what do I do? Roll on each table, or I don't.
Page 86.
Yeah. There's like armor, mundane weapon, expeditionary gear.
Yeah.
Tools and trinkets.
Determine your hat, armor, tools, and equipment. So we already did determine your hat.
All right. So
armor,
so
tools,
armor.
Yep.
Armor. So it's a D20. 15. Thick furs.
All
right. And the next one. Mundane weapon.
You get a mundane weapon?
So just roll once on each
tools and equipment. So
yeah, there's like armor, mundane weapon, there's expeditionary gear, but that's a D20, and then tool and trinket.
Okay, yep.
So I think it looks like you roll twice once on armor, once on mundane weapon, twice on expeditionary gear, because there's like 2 columns, but it's a D20, a tool, and a trinket.
Yep. Okay, go for it.
All right, so mundane weapon is a bullwhip, totally works.
Yep.
There's your boisterousness.
Yeah.
A bullwhip. And then expeditionary gear, I'll roll twice. I got a 7.
So you have some coffee?
Coffee and a 3. First aid kit and some coffee.
All right.
It's like 2 first aid kits.
That's true.
Yeah. And some coffee. And I can look these up to see if they take up inventory. Sometimes things take up inventory slots, sometimes they don't, depending on what it is.
Yep.
Yeah. And then tools and a tool and a trinket.
Yep.
All right, and this is D10s, so 2 D10s. A 9 and a 6. So 9 a sewing kit, and a guitar. Wow.
That's why you're boisterous.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's interesting. So yeah, that's cool. I've got my guitar, my shotgun, and my bullwhip. That's all you need, I guess.
Okay.
And some
You also
coffee.
get 3 days rations.
Okay. All right. And then now I roll how much lead I have, huh?
Torch. Yeah, you got a torch.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and then your lead, there's a place up at the top of the page. You roll
2d6.
3d6 for your starting lead.
Oh wow. Okay. 3d6 for lead.
Mm-hmm.
8.
So 8 starting lead.
Yep.
And then I think you would check next to that it's taken up 1 slot.
Okay.
And then we can go through on page 24 and determine how many slots all this other stuff takes.
Okay. Page 24.
So your scatter gun is bulky, so it takes 2 slots.
Okay. So scatter gun takes 2.
Yeah.
Okay. I got 8 shots, right? 8 shots. What damage does it do? Might as well fill that out.
2 shots.
Oh, it's got 2 shots and then D8.
Shots is how many it can be loaded. I think it's
Yeah, how many loaded at a time?
once.
Okay. And
And its
damage
is D8.
Okay.
It also has a blast effect though, so
Oh, nice.
so it can get. I think it says the rules are for you to the warden just determines how many people get hit based on the situation, but if it's ever in doubt, just roll the damage die and that'll tell you how many people get hit the blast.
Yeah. So it's like a double barrel. It looks like long barrel side by side shotgun with a short stock.
Yep.
Okay.
What'd you get? Thick furs.
Yeah, that's on the next page.
Yeah, that's just that's 1 defense.
Yeah.
And it only takes up 1 slot. So your defense is going to be 1.
All right.
And so that's damage reduction. So there are no attack rolls in Cairn based games. You simply roll the damage of your weapon. And if a person is armored well enough and you don't roll really well, then the armor negates it's not that you're not making an attack roll. It is an attack roll. And then the excess, if you hit, your degree of success is the damage. But because they're just using a weapon die, it looks like you're skipping the attack roll and just rolling damage. But really, and I guess you're rolling damage and the damage reduction can aid it. But I think conceptually it's still an attack roll, right?
Yep.
Okay, so your bullwhip is just one
D4, 15-foot reach.
Yep, but it is just 1 slot.
Yep. And D4 damage. First aid kit says rare.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't take anything.
I think everything takes a slot by default.
Okay. Well, it says rare, small, or bulky.
Small things you can put a bunch of them together.
Okay. All right. So does the hat take up a slot too? I know.
I don't think your hat's supposed to take up a slot.
Okay. I think small maybe means doesn't take up a slot.
Yeah, I'm gonna look real quick.
And bulky is 2. And then my trinkets were sewing kit, guitar. Guitar's probably bulky.
Yeah, so the guitar is
It's rare, so it's just 1 slot.
Yep.
And then sewing kit, 1 slot. I wonder if I have too many. So guitar, and then rations take up 1, right? And torch. I believe. So I have 10, I guess.
You have 12. You got 12 slots altogether.
Yeah, so I'm taking up 10.
Okay.
Looks like
What happens is if you fill up all your slots, then you lose all your grit, and any damage you take goes directly onto your strength.
Okay.
So there's a disincentive to
The
bulk
bulk, yeah.
over, right?
Oh, you could carry a ladder, but it's bulky.
Yep. And you could get hirelings and horses and things that
Yeah.
that allow you
That's
to
true.
bring more gear with you, right?
Right.
Okay.
Cool. I think that's it, huh?
Nice.
All right.
So let's see.
I guess in summary,
Gunslinger creation.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead. Anything else?
Disability scores, saves. Just to discuss in the rule, they say saves, they mean an ability check. It's a roll under ability check.
Right.
Fatigue, each point of fatigue occupies an inventory slot. So if you start to get fatigued,
Mm-hmm.
it starts
You
to
start
push
losing.
you. So different things can cause you to become fatigued.
Yep.
Each point occupies one inventory slot, and it's gained when deprived. So if you're poisoned or you're sick or you kind of spend too long out in the wilderness without resting,
Mm-hmm.
you get this deprived status. It starts to add fatigue to your inventory encumbrance, and then again, the more you get, once you max it out, you can't you don't have your grit to protect you from danger.
Right.
Momentary rest and a drink of water restore grit. So it kind of your grit comes back after a fight or an encounter.
Yeah. So I can give a summary of Dorothy.
But it leaves you exposed. So while you're resting and trying to get your grit back, the warden will roll for a random encounter potentially. So you have to be careful and planful about how you do that, when and where you do that.
Okay.
Ability loss requires a week's rest facilitated by a healer or other kind of expert. Some of those services may be free, while others may cost. And there's some stuff on here on NPC reactions, which is your typical OSR style reaction table. There's also a cool table in here about what do they want. You can roll in a D10. What does an NPC want when you encounter them? They might want food or help. They might want lead. They might be after treasure. They might, have a specific mission they're on. There's morale. Enemies roll a heart save to avoid fleeing when they take their first casualty and after losing half their number. A solitary foe makes a save when they are down to 0 grit. Start with 12 inventory slots. A satchel, which has 8 slots and can serve as a sleeping bag if you empty it out. And then the other slots that were noted on the character sheet for your other things. Bulky items, lead occupies 1 slot without a bandolier. So if you have a bandolier, then lead doesn't occupy a slot.
Yeah, I didn't roll a bandolier.
Bulky items occupy 2 slots. Anyone with a full inventory is reduced to 0 grit.
Okay. Well, cool.
Wealth and treasure, the most valuable commodity is lead. Less common are gold pieces, normally mixed with baser metals. Treasure is highly valuable, bulky, and rarely useful.
Bulky. That's funny. Takes up
It can
2
lure
slots.
yeah. So
Well,
villages, strongholds, and ports of call, barter, and trade based on goods. So we deal in lead, which is the line by Steve McQueen in the Magnificent Seven. Mr. We deal in lead, when the bad guy comes in and tries to intimidate him.
Yep.
But I think there's a place. I think Roland says it in the Gunslinger at some point. Somebody does.
Probably.
But literally, you deal in lead. That's commerce.
Yeah.
As well. So, and then there's the order of the Gunslingers, where if you got more than one player, they can form an order.
Yeah.
And there's a table where you can roll a random name. They can pick a name. The order has a lead gunslinger called the Errant, as in like a knight errant. The order will have a quest, and then what happens is you have to roll when bad things happen to the order to see if the order gets broken. If one of the members of the order dies, or other things can happen, and members of the order are take penalties to their shooting until they've restored. They're unbroken until they've done something to either restore their honor or their morale or whatever the case may be. There is some ways the order can do that. They can forge a new gunslinger, so they can train up somebody to become a gunslinger among them. Defeat a major enemy, unveil a mysterious truth, save a gunslinger's life, or fulfill a quest. The other thing is that there's a note here on sacrifice. Your quest goals are within reach after lifetimes of searching. The resolution is almost at hand, but your goal is slipping from your grasp. So I think each individual gunslinger is supposed to have a personal goal.
Yeah.
And
It says
the board is
motivation.
supposed to set up situations where the order's quest can become at odds with individual gunslinger's goal, and they have to determine what they do. Spoiler alert! I'm going to spoil the gunslinger. That I think that kind of represents, particularly in the first book,
Yeah.
when he lets Jake die,
Right.
so he can get a shot at the Man in Black.
Yeah.
Because his motivation, his goal at that point is to kill the Man in Black,
Mm-hmm.
and he sacrifices a something else to get to it.
Well, cool. I guess I should summarize Dortha here.
Yeah.
So Dortha Richard, she arrived through a slip door from somewhere else than in the main world that we're questing in. She's a big woman, brawny, birthmarked. I probably feel like it's like a heart-shaped birthmark on her right cheek. So maybe she'll probably have I have to buy a bandana, or maybe she wears it out in the open, and I don't know. But braided, she has braided hair, huh?
She could fancy it up with some makeup, make it look.
Doesn't seem like her personality. So braided, dirty blonde hair, she has sharp features, alert eyes, a droning voice. But then when it comes to her guitar play, she becomes boisterous. Comfortable clothing. She's serene and single-minded. So single-minded on the quest, maybe. But that she has been heartbroken before. So I haven't decided how I have been heartbroken. She wields a scattergun with a rosewood stock and a dragon motif carved on the stock. She wears thick furs, carries a bullwhip, and makes a good cup of coffee.
Yep.
Cool.
So just some other things on the rules here.
Mm-hmm.
If you're using a mundane gun, again, you just roll. You roll damage and you apply you reduce it by the person's defense, just like any other weapon. But this notes that the guns of a gunslinger, they're different. They're called artifact guns, or I like this. We're called Big Iron. I love this song, Big Iron.
Big Iron, yeah. I stopped sharing, but because I think we've seen enough of the
okay.
But
so they have artifact guns or Big Iron. These are different. These are heirlooms. These are passed down from either through family lines or from one gunslinger to a mentor to a student. So they're a relic, which is effectively a magic item.
Mm-hmm.
And so gunslingers, when they use their artifact weapon, they don't roll damage. They roll on a shoot table. It's a 2d6 table. 2 to 3 is maximum damage. 4 to 6 is a normal hit. 7 to 9 is a graze for 1d4 damage. 10 to 11 is a miss, and 12 is a roll on the misfire table. So that's a little different.
Yeah.
You're not rolling normal damage, but there's no chance at damage reduction. If it hits, it bypasses grit and goes straight to the target's strength. So you can technically miss with a normal weapon if you don't overcome their defense. Well, here their defense doesn't matter. You're going straight, and this kind of reflects that the gunslinger's oath. I don't kill with my gun. I kill with my heart.
Right.
And so when they fire, they can make what else do they have here? Quick draw, special attacks. Over time, gunslingers attain expert proficiency in their guns, and they can make special attacks. You gain fatigue by trying to make these attacks, but with 6 shooters, you can have 2 and 2. You can have a 6 shooter in each hand. Fan the hammer with a 6 shooter. With a rifle, you can rapid fire, repeat. That's with a repeater. Sorry. With a normal rifle, Deadeye, just a steady called shot. Scattergun, give it both barrels, fire both shots simultaneously, double damage blast attack. So, but there's some rules in here for if 2 gunslingers want to get into a duel. how to roll off for a duel, how to repair guns. Gunsmiths are rare, but they do exist, and they might be able to forge or repair guns, artifact weapons.
Mhm.
Steel resolve. You can draw resolve from steel. Channeling your will through your artifact gun, regain your gun's damage die and grit. So if you're out of grit, you can do the steel resolve thing where you roll the damage die of your gun and you get that much grit back.
Yeah.
There's the shoot table. There's something they did with their heart though, where it's I think that's when that's when the duels come into place.
Yeah.
They both roll a heart save to see who wins. One side fails, the winner hits. If both sides fail, they both hit each other. If both succeed, the lowest roll hits. The duels directly damage strength, bypass grit, and trigger a critical damage. If you take critical damage, you have to roll a strength save or just kind of be laid out. So when two groups face off, the errant of the order makes the group's heart save. So you can even do a shootout at the OK Corral between two groups of gunslingers, and you just roll the dice between their two leaders.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to playing this. It seems like a simple, straightforward system.
Mm-hmm.
Very evocative of a Weird West Dark Tower thing. Like I said, it mentions in the book about going through slip doors to visit other worlds. So you could certainly any other, particularly a Cairn-based world or rule set, whether it's fantasy, science fiction, Western, Cthulhu, anything you could make it Cairn, you could just say you visited this other world through a slip gate, or you could pull monsters, NPCs, items, artifacts from those other types of settings to this setting, and just say, somebody brought it through a slip gate or a slip. Is it a slip gate or a slip door?
Slip door in this game.
Slip door in this one, yeah. So,
just
you think you'll use this character, or you think you'll make a new one for?
Oh, I think I'll use this character.
All right, cool.
Shotgun or not, I like the way it turned out. I think the dragon motif on the rosewood stock sold me.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that was good. It didn't take that long. I mean, we took longer probably than you normally would make a character because we're explaining.
Oh, I think if we weren't making comments, making comments on it, it'd take about 5 minutes.
Yeah, it wouldn't take long at all if you do it all randomly.
Yeah,
I agree.
So,
okay.
All right. Well, Karl, thanks for joining me for this.
Yeah, no problem.
Again, everybody, check out Karl on the GMologist Presents. Anything else you want to say about your podcast?
No, but you should also check out. I'm starting some live. What's it called? Actual play.
Actual play,
YouTube, on YouTube. The 3 Dice in the Truth series. I guess I don't know. This one, if we put this on there, it's up to you, BJ. It's your baby. But if we put this on there, it'll be like a supplement to it. But I don't know. I mean, I think since we're saying 3 Dice in the Truth, I guess we're playing Marvel and D&D. So, but this uses 3 dice. This uses 3 dice.
Yeah. We use 3 dice.
It uses 3 dice to roll your attributes. So, I guess champions would fit in that because you use 3d6 to hit your target number.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I think we've got kind of a theme going because my character in Marvel kind of turned into sort of a gunslinger type of character.
Yeah, there we go.
So maybe he'll pop in through a slip gate.
That'd be fun.
Door.
That'd be fun.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, BJ, for having me. It was really fun. I'm looking forward to getting Dortha or Richard to the table.
All right, and thank you guys out there for listening. We'll be back with another episode when we come up with something to talk about.
Right. Cool.
Thanks for listening to the Arcane Alienist podcast. The music you're hearing is Come and Get It by Scott Holmes Music. The cover art is by Dave Bone. Be sure to check out his stuff at ironseer.com. You can leave me a message I have my SpeakPipe account linked to the show description. You can also send me an email at arcane.alienist@gmail.com. Just embed a voice memo, or I'll just read the text to your email during a future episode. Once again, thanks so much for listening.